Welcome to Sexy Mewtwo review. This is a little video podcast. We are going to be reviewing the film, the movie, the fully feature-length production of Mewtwo Returns, and we're going to be sort of deep diving into it, discussing it critically, and doing an analysis of Mewtwo's character arc and how it relates to, his broader arc across the other Mewtwo movies. And I'm going to be drawing just a really sexually suggestive guy here. So I'm Keith McLean. My pronouns are they, them.
I'm Dan.
Hey, sorry. Go on.
Yeah, I'm Dan. My pronouns are he, him, and they, them.
And I'm Sarah. My pronouns are she and they.
Yeah, I'm so excited to have both of you here.
I'm so excited to bring my fresh approach to this because I've not seen whatever the first Mewtwo film is. This is the only... I've seen this. I've also seen Detective Pikachu, and that's everything I know about Mewtwo, and also pretty much everything I know about Pokemon in general.
I've got a decent amount of familiarity with Pokemon. I watched the show as a kid. This was my first time watching Mewtwo Returns, but I have seen the first movie quite a few times. I've seen bits and pieces of Detective Pikachu, but not all the way through. And I haven't really played any of the games in years. Not since, high school.
So with that in mind, I think I would love to hear about sort of both of your experiences with this film and your general impressions of it, and then we can get into the deeper critical analysis.
So, was anyone going to tell me that Mewtwo has Yami Yugi voice, or was I just going to have to spend an hour of my life kind of poking out over that?
I actually didn't know that. I did not. I haven't watched the Yu-Gi-Oh dub in 1,000 years, so this is news to me.
Yeah, I was watching this and I was just very excited that they got Dan Green for Mewtwo.
I had a time every time because I chose to watch the dub because I often like to do something with my hands while I watch media, and I don't speak Japanese, so I often go for a dub for that purpose. And every time I looked away from the screen, I was like, Yami? He's here!
Yeah.
He's back!
Yeah. I'm glad 4Kids picked the sexiest voice actor in their roster to represent the sexiest Pokemon of the original 151.
God, they really did. They knew what they were doing.
It's simply suggestive.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm saying. I don't know what it's suggesting. I'm asexual. I don't know what they're suggesting, but it's very suggestive.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can just sort of determine that there's a suggestion there. We're aware of the presence of a suggestion, and that's as far as it goes.
Mm-hmm.
I am looking directly at it.
Yeah, so most of my notes are Dan Green, a 10, for this entire movie, and that's my sexy review.
Yeah. For my notes, I divided it up between, stuff that's about the plot of the film, just, so I don't forget. And also just a section of notes all about Mewtwo and Mewtwo's character. This DVD I watched it on included, an OVA for, Mewtwo's origin.
Okay.
It's specifically about this part of Mewtwo's infancy where they are being grown in a lab, and they have this psychic connection with other clones being born there, which includes some other Pokemon, and the secret true purpose of this cloning project, unbeknownst to Giovanni, Amber, who is supposed to be the clone of the head scientist's dead daughter.
Okay.
Yeah.
The kind of wild?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I watched that before I did the first Sexy Mewtwo review, so like 7 or 8 months ago probably, and not since then. So yeah, I just remember that being there and just like very sort of emotionally heavy because a child dies and Mewtwo is like experiencing the world for the first time through her psychic memories.
Okay.
And then they have all their memories erased. So that's just a whole fucking thing.
So this does make a bit more sense because throughout this movie, Mewtwo spends the whole time being like, "Oh, I am a clone. I do not belong in this world. None of me or my kind belong in this world. We must." And I'm like, "The fuck are you on about, dude? My guy, you can simply be vibing." So I think
I think the sort of the crux of Mewtwo's arc in this movie is that Mewtwo learns that they can simply be vibing.
Mewtwo learns to keep it wavy.
And unfortunately they do have to experience crucifixion to do this, but they get there.
Yeah. Mewtwo does, throughout this movie, strike me vaguely Christ-like. Like I said, he gets like tortured to protect his people, and also he gets reborn in healing waters at the end.
Yeah, he does. Is that a Jesus thing? I don't know anything about Jesus.
I don't know, but it feels like a baptism thing.
Yeah. Like they dunk. Yeah, they dunk their babies in the water, right? Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
This is a surprisingly Christian movie.
Mewtwo get baptized. Confirmed.
You know, I'm just thinking, you know, last time we did this, we had Mewtwo sort of, you know, saying a catchy phrase to accompany, you know, the suggestive pose, and I'm wondering if we got it already. I think is Mewtwo saying Mewtwo get baptized.
So what I like about this drawing, Keith, is that Mewtwo is like demurely looking down. So I'm thinking, what if Mewtwo has become Catholic?
Oh, they're holding a cross. Oh, do I need to get an image reference for a nun habit?
Wit.
No.
You know the little anal beads that Catholicism has? The rosary beads.
Yeah.
Yeah?
What if every little bead is a Pokeball?
Oh,
This is a good idea.
Yes.
Well, Keith possibly looks up some references. Dana,
I'm just Googling nun habit and getting tons of just completely chaste imagery.
I wonder. I'm glad for your search function.
Yeah.
What I was going to ask while you do that is, Dan, did you say you have notes on what actually happens in this film?
Yeah,
Do you want to take us through it? Because I do not have anything.
Yeah, so like I said, I've got it divided into, like, stuff relating to the plot and stuff relating to Mewtwo as a character. So, like, it opens with, like, a recap of the first movie. Mewtwo's, like, cult/family, they're hiding out on, like, a lake on a plateau. This, like, this, like, island on the lake on the plateau is, like, completely unreachable by, like, humans, unless, like, they try really hard. Or have a helicopter.
What is having a helicopter if not simply trying really, really, really hard?
And, like, part of the thing about, like, the life that Mewtwo is living out here with their cult or family or what have you is, like, there's a bit of a struggle between, like, letting them, like, wander free and explore the wider world versus the inherent safety of this extremely remote location. Also, like, part of it is, like, this like like island, and all of the water and the lake and all of the water surrounding it is like full of like this extremely good water.
They got the good water.
It's like raw water if it were good. This is what raw water enthusiasts really think.
Mm-hmm.
They've got that dirty raw water, except it's good.
Yeah, it's the cleanest water possible. And also it's got, like, good minerals in it.
Oh, speaking of the island, I have... Because all the notes I have are just, like, jokes I thought of when I was watching the movie. And so Mew's on, like, an island. They're doing island life. Mewtwo. So I was just thinking, what if they served Mew-garitas? Thank you. That's my joke for this part of the movie.
I hope one day Mewtwo truly gets to live on island time.
Mewtwo return to Mew-garitaville.
I mean, that's what I watched, I think.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, like, Ash and his friends and Team Rocket all show up. I
have a question about the, kind of premise of the Pokemon franchise, I guess, because I've never really watched this anime as a kid.
Yeah, they're little guys and they live in spheres.
I mean, like, I played Pokemon Go during the summer of Pokemon Go. That was the last time any of us experienced a joy, probably. But, so I vaguely know the premise of the Pokemon. But Ash and his friends, Misty and... Is it Brock or Brooke? Brock?
Brock. Yeah.
Are they simply... Are they like basically on a camping trip hike for their entire lives?
Kinda, yeah.
Yes. They stop in towns occasionally, I think.
But like they're just wandering around.
They're just wandering.
Yeah, they're like they have like a destination usually, which is like the various gyms located across the world, so they can fight the gym leaders and eventually engage in championships. Mostly Ash, though. But that's basically the gist of it. Like, I know Misty... I don't know why Misty exactly tags along, but Brock, one of Brock's goals is, like, to become a Pokemon breeder and raise Pokemon. Which does, like, remind me of something like someone I know has said, which is, like, they wish there was a game about being a breeder and just being, like, a Pokemon pet sim.
Oh!
That would be pretty
like
cool.
fucking Nintendogs, but for Pokemon.
Yeah. Or a Chow Garden, or what have you.
Yeah, yeah. I think in this movie I noticed that mostly Brock's goals and aims are seemingly just to get laid. And I do not know how old this character is supposed to be. Like, he could be 14, he could be 30.
I genuinely have no idea. I know, like, Ash is, like, 10, and Misty's, like, 12, is, like, 13, or, I don't know, young.
Yeah.
Brock, I have no idea. I know Brock is, like, the oldest of a bunch of kids, and, like, was taking care of his family before, like, he joined up with Ash.
Okay.
But I genuinely have no memory of, like, how old he's actually supposed to be. He's like, he's like a Sonic character. Like, there's probably an official age somewhere, but it's never really explained.
I think the main thing we can agree on with Brock is that he's the wrong age.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
He does feel older. At, like, bare minimum, like, a 16-year-old. With all of the libido and horniness of one.
I did also notice that this movie features the line from the only Brock photo set to ever circulate Tumblr, which is the one where he says, "I'll use my trusty frying pan as a drying pan." That was the only thing I'd ever seen about Brock previously in my life, and it was featured in this movie, and it feels like a blessing, honestly.
Yeah, that's all you really need to know about Brock in terms of the actual animation.
It's
simply the trusty frying pan.
Really, all you need to know about Brock is that one just real clunker of a pun.
Yep.
That real just wet sandbag falling down the stairs of humor.
I mean, there was a lot of very good puns in this movie, most of which I think came from James from Team Rocket.
Yeah.
Breakout star of the show to me.
Oh, yeah. Jesse and James are MLM WLW Solidarity, and I will not hear anything more. Let's see, what else happened? So yeah, like, Ash and Team Rocket show up. There's like some scientists who are observing the waters of the lake. Team Rocket does their usual thing, which is try to kidnap Pikachu, presumably to take to Giovanni. And like they've got their Meowth balloon, which is like a staple of this series. Like,
I'm so glad to hear it.
They've always got some fun mode of transportation, usually like a balloon with a Meowth, or sometimes it's like a submarine. It's like a pedal-powered submarine that looks like a Magikarp.
I think... Sorry, I just took a bite of my snack. The other thing I learned from this movie about the wider Pokemon world is that, like, Team Rocket are, like, a large organization, and not just Jesse and James.
Oh, yeah. Like, sometimes we get to see other stuff, but, like, that's sort of, like, a big thing about this movie in particular. They're, like, this giant criminal organization with the ultimate goal of, like, world conquest. And in this movie, they're, like, trying to do that by, capturing Mewtwo and sort of forcing him to, them, to serve under Team Rocket. Like, the big turning point in this movie is, like, as Ash and friends and Team Rocket are doing their usual stuff, this, like, girl who's been traveling with one of the scientists reveals herself to be a spy serving under, Team Rocket. They go by Domino, aka the Black Tulip. And they sort of, like, summon the Team Rocket combat unit, which, yeah, I forgot they have a fucking combat unit.
Yeah,
Team Rocket has an army. Not a lot of people talk about that.
This was the kind of the part of the movie that really kind of, again, took a turn for me when I realized that there was a Team Rocket were more than just Jesse and James, that they had the potential to do war crimes. It's a lot.
Yeah. Like, I've played, like, the first two games, and, like, that's sort of the ones that Team Rocket are in. And, like, the games are basically just the Yakuza, so, like, I am, like, imagining, like, what if the Yakuza had, like, tanks and helicopters and shit? I mean, they probably have helicopters, I don't know.
I think they have helicopters in this movie, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. Like, they get separated, like, Team Rocket ends up with, Mewtwo and all of Mewtwo's clones. Throughout this movie, there's, like, two big important clones. There's the clone of Pikachu and there's the clone of Meowth. They're both from, like, the original movie. Well, they're all from the original movie, you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're the two Pokemon that had actual speaking roles in the original movie.
Yeah, the other Pikachu who I've named
Speaking in that they just say their own names.
But the second Pikachu, who I have named Pikachu, Pikachu is out for blood in this movie.
Oh fuck yeah.
Pikachu is just like fucking starting a revolution.
Yeah, like proper, just like there's like a personality with the clones. Some might say that Pikachu is trying to do Attack of the Clones. In fact, I'm loving these rosary beads. Excellent stuff.
And like the Meowth 2 is like, the great thing about Meowth 2 is like they're a clone of like the fun Meowth we know from the show, but this one is basically just a cat.
Yeah. It really like puts into perspective how fucking weird it is that Team Rocket Meowth like talks and walks around on this like 2 feet and is to all intents and purposes a person, and then the Meowth clone is like, yeah, you're supposed to be a cat, my little guy. It's very good.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm just checking my notes to make sure I haven't missed anything really important about Mewtwo that's shown up so far that we haven't already mentioned.
Let me check my notes as well. What have I got?
Yeah, okay, so like a thing about Mewtwo is like he's got this whole issue with like the sacred versus the profane. Which, ties into the sort of Catholic undertones of this. Mewtwo thinks that because they're clones, they're like profane. But like learns, all life is sacred.
It is like there, because most of my notes about this are like, Mewtwo, why do you think that you don't belong in the world? Like, why are you like this, Mewtwo? Because like, the first line they say in the movie is basically like, they're on island time, they're standing there, they're like, I'm not like other girls. And sort of have...
I'm worse.
Yeah. And have a lot of kind of internal monologues about not belonging anywhere, which is honestly very, very confusing, because this movie presents absolutely no reason, apart from the fact that the leader of Team Rocket is sort of hunting them for sport. The movie doesn't present any reason that Mewtwo might not be able to integrate into society. Like, it's all internal.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. Oh, and yeah, when I get to my piece, we are gonna talk about like their how that stems from their trauma, and how their relationship with Genai in the first movie, sort of shaped that sort of inability to connect. So yeah, we're gonna get into it. We're gonna go there.
I think like a big thing about this movie is just how Giovanni is Mewtwo's shitty dad, who wants him to move back in.
Mewtwo daddy issues.
Mewtwo daddy issues. That's the whole premise of this podcast series, is Mewtwo daddy issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, where are we? I think the next note I have is that Jesse and James go to jail.
They do. They get arrested.
I also have a note here about how Pokemon the franchise is inherently environmentalist.
Yeah.
Which I don't think I really realized from its sort of, presence in the world as merchandise, essentially. Well, actually watching a Pokemon media is like, nature, biodiversity, and I'm like, oh shit, cool, yeah.
Yeah, it, all about a huge thing in this movie is just like they're trying to protect, like, the environment, and, like, they can't just have, like, people come to this island even though there's, like, magical healing waters, because, like, humans will pollute it with their presence, and, like, they already start doing it when Team Rocket decides, hey, we want to set up a base here. Like, and, like, it's sort of, like, a bit of tension, in, like, when Mewtwo's going to get reborn, like, are the waters going to still be safe?
Yeah, I have that note that it was, like, you know, Mewtwo gets crucified, is on the verge of death, and I think Ash is like, oh, we could just kind of, like, dunk him in the lake. Which...
God, I do just want to point out that scene, because, like, Mewtwo has been crucified by Giovanni's machine. They just, like, got totally messed up in an energy ball for a while that, like, drained their power and made them do just a mighty T-pose. And yeah, so they're very exhausted, pretty much on the brink of death. And then, in order to save them, Ash drags this boy up a flight of stairs and then shoulder throws them into a fucking lake, and it's the greatest moment in cinema history.
Ash is just like, Mewtwo dying. Yeet!
Yeah,
Yeet!
Mewtwo is... One thing I just noticed is, like, Mewtwo is so much bigger than Ash.
Yeah.
Like, Ash is a 10-year-old, and Mewtwo is the size of a grown man.
Why is Ash competing in Pokemon tournaments? Ash should be fucking wrestling.
Yeah.
Just a natural aptitude. Ooh, are these going to be, like, Windies?
Yeah, some Windies.
Excellent.
You know what? I might want to start doing my background layers on separate layer, just to keep that easier to parse.
Yeah. But yeah, like, the scene where he throws Yeet's Mewtwo into the lake, the scientists who are with him are like, no, Ash, you can't baptize Mewtwo, you'll pollute the waters. And Ash is like, fuck that shit. Which was great.
Yeah.
And then demonstrates his core strength.
Yeah, it does, like, say something, like, protecting the environment is important, but, like, it shouldn't get in the way of, like, people's safety and ability to live.
Yeah. And also, yeah, this is like the turning point for Mewtwo. This is like kind of the climax of their arc in this movie, because, like, while Mewtwo is just in the water, like, this is where it happens. This is where they learn to simply vibe, because, you know, they talk about, like, oh, I'm in this water now. I'm like having a time in here, and you know, this water can heal me. Like, it can heal, like, all life, you know. It's not treating me any differently because I'm a clone.
Yeah.
And so they're like, yeah, I exist in this world too. I'm like a part of things, no matter where I came from. Mm-hmm. So
I think they're kind of, you know, they're like, under the water, carry the water. There is water at the bottom of the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks. I'll just get that in there.
Also, like, something about, like, this, like, sort of, like, source lake cave is, like, there's other Pokemon, like, living there. Like, the parents are from the clone family, but the kids are just, like, were, I guess, naturally born from the clones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just sort of, like, showing, like, they are reintegrating into society, and they do deserve to, like, be part of this world. Let's see. Okay, yeah, so... like, when the combat unit storms this whole, like, island and valley and whatnot, they're, like, taking Pokemon hostage. They're, like, part of this is, like, the whole group is, like, divided into two groups. Like, there's Pikachu and, like, some of the other clones that want to leave, and then there's, like, stuff Pokemon that are already on the island.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, after the ones on the island get captured, Mewtwo goes to the island with the other Pokemon, I've lost my place.
Yeah, because, there's at one point, the only note I have about this is that, what's his face? What's he call the man in the orange suit? Mewtwo's shitty dad. Giovanni! Giovanni is like, Mewtwo, get in the orb or I'm gonna kill all of your Pokemon clone friends. And Mewtwo is like, okay, I will get in the orb.
Yeah. It's like this... Yeah, we were talking about it before, but, like, it's supposed to, like, basically hurt Mewtwo and, like, bend Mewtwo to Giovanni's will.
I mean, it is pretty explicit torture.
Yeah. The thing that I was thinking about was, like, the torture minigame from Metal Gear Solid 1, and, like, Mewtwo's just, like...
Mewtwo has to press circle.
Yes, Mewtwo is just endlessly mashing circle.
Yeah, Giovanni is like, oh, they're too good at mashing circle. I'm not going to win this game.
Psychic powers mean you always have a turbo controller.
Yeah, that's really how, how they... that was, like, a key part of sort of Mewtwo's genetic makeup during the program process. They had to get that turbo button into the genetic code.
Mm-hmm.
And then that sort of leads to Mewtwo at the start of the movie being like, can I naturally exist in the world? Do I have, like, an existential purpose? If I have this turbo button, am I really playing the game or am I cheating?
Am I playing the game or am I playing myself?
Yeah, also, like, when Mewtwo starts getting tortured, it's nighttime, and once, like, Ash and friends show up to, like, save Mewtwo, it's, like, the middle of the day, so Mewtwo's been at this for a while.
Like, their thumbs must be getting sore for pressing circle.
Let's see.
So, our question, Keith, are Mewtwo's eyes closed in this?
Yes.
Okay.
They're praying.
Okay.
They're just having a little silent moment with Jesus.
Or, I think, more like having a silent moment with Mew.
Oh.
Because that does kind of happen in this movie. I guess,
yeah.
To finish, like, our summary, they build a base on the island.
Yeah.
Then I've got sort of note down Chekhov's bug Pokemon. And I think...
Oh yeah, because there were some, like... when they were trying to get to the plateau in the early part of the movie, they just kind of had to go through a forest of bugs. But then Misty was like, nope, not into it. For some reason, I don't like bugs. Our little chitinous friends.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously, she's assigned bug hater at birth. I guess. Yes, like some bugs show up. The children try and smash the crucifixion machines with their bodies. I feel like there's something to dig into there,
Yeah. I think part of, like, this whole thing with the crucifixion is, like, when Mewtwo eventually defeats it, it's mostly because Mewtwo puts the last of their power into just completely overpowering the machines, which, leaves them next to nothing.
Mm-hmm. And it's just like, yeah, the animation really kind of goes sicko mode in this moment. Like, all the lines around Mewtwo get, like, all shaky, and it's very... some pretty intense pain and suffering. Like, we witness Mewtwo dying for our sins.
Mm-hmm.
and it's very intense.
Yeah.
And then, as mentioned, we get to see their sort of bodily resurrection when Ash throws them into the lake.
Ash. Yeah. So if Ash is the person that baptized Mewtwo, would that make him, kind of like a John the Baptist figure in this
pantheon?
I don't know Bible, but I'm willing to say yes.
I know there was a John the Baptist, and I think John the Baptist baptized Jesus. I remember learning about this in school.
Sounds right to me.
But I don't know, why or what the significance of that. I just know there was a guy who dunked Jesus in a river, and everyone was like, "Oh yeah!" and applauded. Everyone clapped.
Did he shoulder throw Jesus? I think is the question we need to really, really dig into here. This has become a Bible study podcast, and I don't know how we got here, but I like it.
I mean, sorry, this was a Christian movie.
Yeah.
What do you mean, how did we get here? No, I am seeing the little Pokeball symbols on these rosary beads. Excellent stuff.
Thank you.
You love to see it.
We do.
Let me think. I'm starting to run out of things to talk about with this general summary, but after Mewtwo is reborn, they're glowing with a DBZ aura, and they envelope the island in light, so I guess Team Rocket is defeated. Let's see, the local bug Pokemon put them all to sleep, and as Mewtwo's dealing with what next, Mewtwo's default strategy is just what they did in the last movie, which was wipe everyone's memories and run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then Meowth and all of the clones give this big thing about how they can't leave. They've got kids, and the kids can't just be forced to forget about their parents and where they came from. And there's this whole thing about deserving the right to remember. And
yeah, I really liked that Meowth was kind of the, because Meowth was the one in this movie that gives Mewtwo the talking to that they've been needing. Meowth is the one who's finally buddy, the way you're thinking here is fucked up, and this ain't it, Chief. And I just really like that comes from Meowth.
Yeah, also Meowth sort of goes through this whole redemption arc of their own, where it's he's but at first he's teaming up with Mewtwo and the clones just out of pure pragmatism. They won't kill him, they won't capture him, they need him, and Meowth just sort of agrees. But after all the attacks and trying to survive the combat unit, Meowth is genuinely speaking from their heart.
Yeah. Oh, is this a cropped habit?
Ooh.
Or are these folds?
These are folds, yeah.
Okay, right. Okay. I just because I saw a bit of Mewtwo's titty there, and so I wasn't quite sure if they were still shirtless or what was going on.
Yeah, I think it'll make more sense once it's colored in, I think.
Yeah. Let's see, what else is... Yeah, so Mewtwo is moved by this speech and decides they shall let the outsiders remember, except for, of course, the combat unit and Giovanni, because if they're allowed to remember, they're just going to keep pursuing them, and they'll never really be able to live safely, peacefully. So yeah, Mewtwo does that. They teleport, They teleport Giovanni and the combat unit to some city somewhere, no idea. And there's this bit where it's like Mewtwo and the clones of Meowth and Pikachu, like, flying into the air and going separate ways.
So that was who was flying. So I have a lot of questions about the end of this movie, mainly about where the big Pikachu balloon came from.
Oh, right. They also have a big Pikachu balloon that Ash and friends go on.
Because it does just sort of appear, like, the Meowth balloon is there, and, like, that's sort of been established, I guess, that Mewtwo could have fixed it with its, like, psychic powers they have. But I guess they can also just kind of conjure a Pikachu balloon?
Much to think about.
Much to think about. Billy Ray Cyrus voice.
The only thing I can really... I guess it doesn't actually matter, but... Maybe... Oh... What if they have some sort of replication thing they did with the Meowth balloon, only this time they, like, replicated it with Pikachu?
And they could, like, change it into... Yeah, that makes sense. Like, that sounds feasible from what I know of Mewtwo, which is the runtime of this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Mewtwo replicated an entire cloning lab just off-screen in the first movie, right. So...
Okay.
They're just doing whatever they want over here.
Yeah, they are simply all-powerful and almighty, like our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
Trust in them, and Mewtwo shall be saved. I've seen that on a poster around the Bible parts of this country, so I'm sure that's a Bible thing.
Mm-hmm.
It said those exact words. It was about Mewtwo, which is, I think, foreshadowing for this podcast.
Yeah, so alright, if we're...
Yeah.
Do we have anything else to sort of say in the recap? Because I can get into some sort of metaphors and dualities that I've been just thinking about in this movie.
I do. Before we, I do have like about 3 jokes that I wrote down that I want to quickly point out.
Okay. Yes.
The first is that at the start of the movie, whenever they're talking about the water, and they taste the water, and it's like the best water they've ever tasted, and everyone who drinks the water gets like star eyes. Ash drinks the water, and Ash is like, I can't taste this. So I am just a bit concerned about Ash having coronavirus.
The thing is, I thought about how Ash couldn't taste it, and I thought about how at the end Mewtwo is reborn. I think Ash can't taste it because he's already been reborn. Because he died and was reborn by Pokemon tears at the end of the first one.
God, you're right.
Right.
Cinematic parallels. Ash got baptized in the first movie, and then he in turn baptizes Mewtwo.
Right.
It means something.
By the turntables. That's interesting. And then the other thing that I wanted to shout out is Jesse and James at the end of the movie, whenever, like, they're on the island, Giovanni's on the island, and they're like, oh my god, it's the boss, what do we do? If he sees us, he may do something drastic, like ask for our expense report. And I just wanna, shout out Jesse and James for ostensibly being embezzlers to the larger Team Rocket organization. I think they're doing praxis. I'm proud of them. I support their lifestyles.
They must... God, they have engaged in so many schemes that have failed that surely it must be massive. Yeah, that's all I've got to say on the recap.
That's all I've got, yep.
Let's go into what you were saying before.
Yeah, all right. I wanna hit you all with something here, and that is that that Mewtwo is a metaphorical parallel to the baptism water. We are talking about dualities in this movie. We are exploring it. We are talking about science versus nature. We are talking about real versus artificial. Mm-hmm. And in this movie, Mewtwo is like the most artificial human-created thing in the movie, and the water is like the most pure and natural. Mm-hmm. So they're sort of existing naturally in opposition to each other. But, you know, also, like, they're sort of both isolated from the larger world, you know? The water cannot, like, ever be sort of interfered with or touched by human hands, and Mewtwo is, like, up on this plateau, isolating themselves from larger society. So, yeah, they're both sort of just up there, and you know, not really interacting with the larger world.
Yeah, like, they have literally put themselves on a pedestal.
Yeah, exactly.
And the valley, or whatever, the lake, the place that the children have to cross over is literally called Purity Lake.
Mm-hmm.
How did I not see this? Oh my god.
And like the water, Mewtwo has become passive in this movie. They have sort of removed their own agency in refusing to fight Giovanni, in, like, refusing to allow their followers to interact with the world. They've just, like, become the water in that way as well. And basically when they start vibing, when they go into the water, when they make that physical contact, mm-hmm. that's when Mewtwo comes into contact with their sort of metaphorical antithesis. And, you know, that's when they realize, oh, like, this, you know, sort of real versus artificial duality is kind of fake. This is like when they realize that they're living in the world, and that, like, you know, the world doesn't treat them any differently because they're not, like, of a natural origin. Mm. And so, yeah, that's, like, this movie largely is, you know, it's about Christianity, but it's also about nihilism. It is about, like, rejecting a dualistic worldview. So, you know, in other terms, that's basically when Mewtwo realizes that gender is fake, and it makes them more powerful than they've ever been.
I'm proud of them.
Yeah.
I'm proud of them. I'm proud of them for coming to Jesus and also coming to gay.
Out. Yeah.
Yeah, coming to out.
Coming to out.
Yeah.
That's where the cleavage is. I see. Ooh. Very sexy.
Mm-hmm.
It's so sexy.
Yeah. I appreciate the little thigh window. Well, not window, but, like, opening.
Yeah, the thigh slit. You gotta have the thighs showing at least a little bit, because that is, like, their most powerful defining feature.
So, if this is a movie about nihilism and possibly sort of, like, the call of the void and, bear with me here, the appeal of death.
Ooh.
Maybe one could also say it's kind of like a goth movie.
It's pretty goth.
Now, I am only saying this because I would like to request that you give Mewtwo fishnet tights in this drawing.
Oh my gosh, yes. I'm crossing them right now.
This is just kind of like, there was part of the movie I remember when Meowth is trying to help other Meowth too, and does kind of, like, scrabble them on their face and give them all these cross marks on their face, and marking them in that way, and I feel like that's kind of what we're doing to Mewtwo here.
Yeah,
they're hold-ups. Oh.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah!
This is what I'm talking about. Now this is Sexy Mewtwo.
Anakin Skywalker voice. Now this is Sexy Mewtwo.
It's podcasting.
Yeah,
It's beautiful.
I forgot what I was gonna say. I'm too distracted.
I'm entranced. It's so beautiful. We're fucking geniuses.
We're the psychic types now.
Yeah.
Our brains got so big.
Our brains are so big. Excellent stuff.
Yeah. Is there anything else we wanted to bring up about, like, Mewtwo's, character, or...
I did want to mention briefly that whenever Mewtwo gets yeeted into the water by the shredded Ash Ketchum, they do see Mew there when they're in the water, when they're under the water, carry the water, there's water at the bottom of the ocean. And like Mew is there to kind of receive them. So I was wondering if this makes Mew the father figure of this sort of Holy Trinity, if Mewtwo is the Jesus figure.
It's an interesting question because, as we established, Giovanni is also the father figure, but he's like the shitty. Maybe Mewtwo has two dads, you know.
Yeah.
So we've got Giovanni the bad dad and Mew the sort of
ethereal.
We call Mew the sort of absent dad.
Mm-hmm,
yeah,
perhaps.
I think the parent, maybe Mewtwo, or maybe Mew is more like a mother figure, in that they produced Mewtwo, and possibly through the waters of this lake are nurturing Mewtwo. Don't know about that one.
But yeah, while we're on like father figure stuff, I do want to go back to Mewtwo's sort of parental trauma and and how it influences their character throughout this movie, because like, as we know, like Mewtwo doesn't really seem interested in interacting with the world. And yeah, I do want to talk a little bit about about the previous movie and Mewtwo's arc in that, because Mewtwo, wow, podcasting and drawing at the same time is hard.
Yeah.
So Mewtwo in the previous movie, like, At the very start of the movie, when they were created and cloned, Giovanni goes up to them and, is basically like, okay, your purpose in the world is to be my weapon. And then, Giovanni, like, makes them some like restraining armor and forces them to do a bunch of Pokemon battles in the interest of, like, furthering his own goals and, increasing his own powers. And that is, like, Mewtwo's, like, sort of foundational relationship, that's like their parental relationship. That is like again, very foundational to them. So they have this relationship with Giovanni, and it's really damaging to them because, the only sort of relationship dynamic that they have, experience with is this, like, very abusive one that is, like, centered around, like, dominance and control. And yeah, like, I think, yeah, that really sets the stage for like a lot of what Mewtwo is doing in, you know, a lot of Mewtwo's character in terms of like how they interact with the world, and like, you know, their development in the first movie is that like, you know, they stop like trying to destroy the world themselves. Like they sort of take a baby step where they're like, okay, I don't need to like replicate what my father was doing, but you know, they're still like, you know, they sort of break the cycle of abuse, but they're still like not in a good place to like start forming their own relationships, you know? And we see a little bit more of that in this movie, where Mewtwo is like, okay, you know, I should not be like controlling these clones that I've made and like making decisions for them. They need to sort of live their own lives, even if it means, you know, that they might be in a little bit more danger.
Yeah, because I was thinking that, you know, in this movie, perhaps Mewtwo seems a little sort of, you know, obviously I didn't see the first movie, but it does sort of seem like Mewtwo is a little bit directionless, doesn't know how to vibe, because they don't have this father figure to rebel against and to, you know, direct them, even if that direction is like a shitty direction, even if Giovanni's trying to get Mewtwo to do war crimes. You know, Mewtwo doesn't have the drive to not do war crimes. Like, Mewtwo is just simply, you know, it has island time available to them, but also has no idea how to use island time.
Yeah.
The classic island time dilemma.
Classic.
God, I'm looking at this.
I am just kind of I think once the Pokeball rosary is Pokeball colored, I am going to lose my shit.
Yeah, this
All right, yeah.
is an interesting follow-up to last episode's whole Christian shouldn't masturbate imagery.
Yeah. Yeah, you know,
this
I was
one
not
says
like...
Christians should masturbate.
I love it.
The question is, should Mewtwo masturbate, I suppose?
I don't know if they have genitals.
That's fair.
I mean, I would say that, like, having genitals is not essential to pleasuring oneself, and that part of Mewtwo's learning to live on island time and learning to vibe, learning to make the Mugarita, is learning to live for their own pleasure. And what is that if not a form of masturbation?
Yeah, it's like a sort of ideological masturbation, like a spiritual masturbation.
Yeah.
Like sort of a mental health self-care masturbation.
Yeah.
What is masturbation if not self-care?
It's free dopamine, baby. Or what the other, I don't know which one. It's free brain juice, baby.
Yeah, it's one of the brain juices.
Yeah. Endorphins.
That shit. Yeah, Mewtwo has learned to produce endorphins. Through Christ.
Yeah.
Through Christ.
Christ is sexy, and we need to accept that. The world... Christianity would be a healthier religion if they came to accept that their savior is sexy.
Yep. Now, question, is Mewtwo going to be sort of backlit with holy light?
Absolutely. And, you know, I think I'm probably not gonna get to, like, all the you know, all the powerful highlights and lighting in this video, because that'll just take a while, so... God, what am I doing with my layers? But yeah, I think... I think yeah, once we finish recording, then I'm gonna like get to all of the highlighting, just because that'll take a while, and I'll post the finished version at the end of the video. But
yeah, is there anything else we wanna get to before? Because I mean, honestly, I'm just really eager to see that in several days or whatever.
Just like, okay, what else do I have in my notes? Okay, so I want to just take a moment to connect Mewtwo's character development to, talk about how his character development is still sort of unfinished in this movie.
Right.
They do some good work, like sort of further breaking the cycle of abuse that Giovanni initiated. They let their Pokemon clones go out into the world like a good father figure would. And also they stop being so dang existential about it. They learn to vibe. They learn that they can exist in the world and like be in the same place as other people. But again, like they're still like not fully there when it comes to like forming relationships, because ostensibly by the end of the movie, Mewtwo becomes friends with Ash.
Well, I mean, Mewtwo.
But Go ahead.
Mewtwo ends this movie alone.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, exactly. They end this movie alone. They're just like, they're kind of like vibing in the world, but they're not vibing with their friends. They still don't really have friends. So yeah, that's like a thing where they still need to develop, because they've had these relationships with their clone friends, and to a limited degree with Ash Ketchum, and with their various father figures. But yeah, they're still not like really in a place where they can like exist on equal terms with people. And part of that is like not really understanding where they fit in like the Pokemon human dynamic. Because like, again, gender is fake, binaries aren't real, and Mewtwo is kind of just like both a Pokemon and a person, because they're a Pokemon, they have powers of a Pokemon, but also like they have intelligence and ambition that seems like unique to humans. So,
I mean, damn, everything you've said about Mewtwo also applies to Team Rocket Meowth.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
So, in that way, it makes it very significant that Meowth was the one who, at the end of the movie, gave Mewtwo the talking to.
Yeah.
Much to think about.
Mm-hmm. I'm not really gonna design anything in this stained glass window. That would take too long. I'm just gonna put some pretty colors in there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's like modernist churches. I think they do that. I've seen that. I think. Probably.
Seems
legit.
Really, has anyone been to church and can refute this point?
I mean, I've been in churches.
Yeah, the last time I was in a church was, apologies if this is a bit dark, attending funeral services for a late relative a few months back. Yeah, I guess this is what churches are.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, yeah, you, as the last person to be in a church, you are now expert.
Yeah,
on
I
churches.
would say I understand there's not enough time to do it, and but like the idea of like maybe someday like doing like church pains in the style of like these 3 movies that represent Mewtwo's progression.
Oh.
Like the in churches they sometimes have those kind of like comic strip style, not style, but like progression of like Jesus going along with the cross, and there's like the different pictures that show his progress.
Yeah. That's what I'm
like
thinking.
A thing, I think.
Yeah.
But this for Mewtwo.
Yeah, like
I like it.
I hope people who do go to church are listening to this and are yelling at us about being wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a stained glass for each movie, essentially.
God, that would whip. That's definitely like a later project, but now that I'm thinking about it, I really like it.
Question, Keith. Can listeners and rabid fans of this podcast purchase these artworks as prints?
Yeah, I would like for that to be a thing. I am, you know what? I think I am gonna try to upload to Redbubble, but last time I uploaded to Redbubble, I think I put too many trademarked words in there and accidentally got taken down. So
I think
we'll see.
my Joey Wheeler mug has managed to stay on Redbubble because I've listed it as official Pot of Greed merch, and the words Yu-Gi-Oh! Joey Wheeler are not present in it. So I guess you'd have to list it as like sexy review art.
Okay, yeah. Sexy legendary Catholic church.
What was Jesus if not simply the legendary of Christianity?
Yeah.
I am currently Googling the phrase sexy Jesus Christ.
Oh, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Oh, these are some good results.
Excellent.
Yeah, so I think I have like one more major point to make about like Mewtwo's character development and what we're gonna see, how they could potentially develop further in Detective Pikachu, and really sort of a broader overall thesis statement.
Detective Pikachu is a movie that I've seen.
Oh, okay.
Just want to mention it. I don't know if you if you have any theories you want to run by me for me to not answer.
Sure. I mean, yeah. The thing I wanted to say then is that, Mewtwo cannot form meaningful relationships in a world where Pokemon are basically forced to fight for the entertainment of humans, because like that's the whole dynamic that was damaging to Mewtwo in the first place. That's like that's like the source of their parental trauma, is like being made to fight and like being forced into this this very binary relationship of Pokemon and trainer, and like not finding their place in that dynamic. So yeah, and what is the world of Detective Pikachu? It's at least a small part of the world where humans and Pokemon are not allowed to fight. So yeah, I think that is like something meaningful, that we can see for their character. It's not like necessarily explored to the fullest degree, but yeah, it's kind of there, and we can see it. And once again, what the hell am I doing with my layers? I might want to just leave the artwork here, and because this needs some sorting out. But yeah, I think this would be a decent place to start wrapping it up.
All right.
We've got that sexy fishnet, Nan, and I think that's like really the main thing that I was hoping to accomplish here.
One final request.
Yes.
Can you give them some very demure eyelashes?
Yeah.
Very nice.
And yeah, I think that the from what I recall of Detective Pikachu, the relationship between humans and Pokemon is nicely explored, and I think that Mewtwo might just be the sort of crux of that as an entity, which was sort of part Pokemon but also very human-like, much like Meowth. I'm disappointed that there's no Team Rocket Meowth in Detective Pikachu, but I do get that they don't have any Pokemon anime characters in there.
Yeah. I don't know if this is worth bringing up or not, but there is... I think there's like a Pokemon movie that has a Mewtwo in it that isn't this Mewtwo. Like...
Mewtwo 2?
Let me...
Mew 3?
Mewtwo.
Mew who?
Yeah, I did some research before starting this series, and it sounds like there's like just a whole entire other Mewtwo that exists for some reason. It's like I think like the Pokemon Y movie or something.
Yeah. I'm not sure what the deal with that Mewtwo is. That might be a discussion for another day. I'm not sure.
Well, are we at end of podcast? Should we do plugs and
Yeah.
peace out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, my cat's just come to talk to me.
What do y'all have to plug?
I guess I'll go first. Well, Sarah and I are both on a podcast called Pot of Greed.
Yeet!
It is about Yu-Gi-Oh! We are currently discussing Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. We have exited the era of Dan Green, but
I was
the
so
memories
happy
will
to
always
see him
remain.
again. Hear him
Yeah.
again. Hear his Christ-like voice.
Yeah.
It's a very good podcast. I really enjoy it.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's see, some other... I'm also on a podcast called The Sonic Shuffle, which I actually will be recording shortly after this one, where we will be where we discuss Sonic the Hedgehog. And I don't think we've really gone into the Christ-like nature of Sonic, but...
Wow, is he voiced by Dan Green as well?
No, he's voiced... But he was voiced by... Oh, Knuckles is voiced by Dan Green.
Wait, fuck, really? Oh my god.
Yeah, there was a period in the 2000s where 4Kids was doing the voice acting for all the Sonic stuff, and they had Dan Green do Knuckles.
Wow. I love it. Knuckles confirmed for Christ figure.
You know?
Knuckles confirmed for sexy.
Yeah.
Hey!
And also I'm on a podcast called Stranger's Fiction. It's an actual play podcast focused on one-shots. I guess I could bring up that... I'll just look up whatever the latest episode is. Oh yeah, the latest episode is just like an extra from our Canceled Masks campaign. We had, like, when we do campaigns, we don't upload until, like, after they're over.
Mm.
So, like, when this one got canceled, we decided, you know what, let's put up one of the, episodes we did record as sort of a treat.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's all I have to say. Oh, and also at Xbox_holiday. Usher celebrates holidays with Xbox. Very recently it was Trog Day. Happy Trog Day, Xbox.
Happy Trog Day, Xbox.
Happy Trog Day.
I don't know what Trog Day is. I think it's something to do with...
Trogdor.
Home Star Runner.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right.
Excellent. I'm so proud of myself. Yeah, I'm Sarah. You can find me everywhere on the internet at Sarah McCostumes. I do costumes and fashion, and if you go to my website, which is sarahmcclintock.com/knitwear, I have a shop where I'm selling sort of tangentially anime and media related knitwear. I do a bunch of podcasts. There's Pot of Greed, the aforementioned. I also do a Naruto D-Watch podcast, in which we watch filler episodes of currently Naruto Shippuden. We had to stop watching filler episodes of Naruto because of reasons. And I also have recently started a podcast where we are rereading, or reading for the first time, Patrick Rothfuss's Name of the Wind. That one's called Kvothe Killer Chronicles, because it is a little bit of a shade-throwing podcast, but it should be fun. I need to record that this weekend. And that's all for me.
Absolutely get on Never Believe It if you haven't yet. Like, each episode completely destroys my brain, and it's excellent.
Oh yeah, I do think I did forget to say the name of my Naruto D-Watch podcast.
Oh yeah.
You can go to narutohead.band to find that.
Yeah, and I do a Hunter x Hunter podcast called Gone Will Hunting. And, you know, we just talk about Hunter x Hunter and how we compare it to the 1999 anime, which is old and weird, but sometimes good, and also the manga. And we say a lot of jokes, and it's pretty fun.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, with that, I think we'll leave it at that. We'll say goodbye for now to praying Catholic Mewtwo, and yeah, stick around for the finished artwork.
Mm-hmm.
I'm jealous of the listeners who get to just kind of look at it now.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for joining me, both of you. This was great.
Yeah, this was amazing.
Thanks for inviting me on.
Absolutely. Yeah, all right. I'll see you later.
I'd love to see it.
Stay sexy.
Stay sexy. I'm going to stop recording now.